Hey YouTube, this is me, GamerKid1177, and I'm going to tell you how to put your Xbox 360 wireless controller back together. And you may notice I have a couple of things back on. That's just to save some time, so don't worry. The tools you'll need is a Torx T8 screwdriver and two small head other screwdrivers you'll need for this one for putting back the D-pad, the little plus. That's what I call them, head screwdrivers, and a small little rod you need for like the triggers. Or you can use a small little rod, small screwdriver, or maybe even a paper clip if it's strong enough. So then what you do is, I like to start easy, is you grab your analog sticks and you simply just put them back in, you line them up, and you simply push them in, and it should be right in. Your little click sound to the right, move them around. Next thing I like to do is get the rumble pads back in, and I have a little technique with this little rumble pad. There's a little metal sides facing up. You want to make sure that side is facing up towards the trigger and slide it right in, and your little click, and it should work right in. If you do it the wrong way, you won't be able to push it in. Do not force it in, just simply turn it around and push it right in. Now that you have the rumble pads back in, I'm going to show you to put the triggers back in. Well, I have a little technique for this, putting the triggers back in, because you might get them mixed up. The left one goes on the left side of the thumbstick's top left, and the right one goes on the bottom right, just to make sure. And make sure they're facing up towards the analog stick. Sometimes when I was like first putting this sticks back together, I messed it up and put the opposite way, or I would simply just mix up the triggers. That's a little technique I found out and learned from my mistakes. So then what I do is I simply just slide them back in. They're a little tricky to get in, but once you get it, you hear a little click and they go right back in. Here's what it looks like so far. And what I like to do is, you get the spring, and this is probably one of the hard parts of putting it back in. You put the spring back where the little plastic stick is sticking up in the little controller, and you push it down. And when you're pushing it down, grab your thumb. If you have a problem with it, it wants to spring back right up. It may take you a couple tries. Don't get frustrated. If you get frustrated, just come back to it some more time. Just simply go down slowly. Use your finger or your small head screwdriver, and it should fit in right in. And it keeps on flipping out. But once you get it right, it should bend, kind of like a U. And once you have that in, you simply just push a little hard. If you can't get in that way, hold this little flap out, just stretch it out, and push down. So once you have that in, it should click pretty normal. And this is where you need that other screwdriver for, because you need the little flap up, like you see here. This one's up, this one's down. This is probably one of the other hard parts. If it's your first time doing it, you simply get your small screwdriver, or small little rod, whatever you have, to hold it up. I don't care if you even use a freaking animal cracker to hold it up, just whatever. It's your controller. But I should just, okay, yeah, whatever. What you do is you hold this up, push this to the side, push down, and it goes right in. And if you did it right, you should be able to clip these really easy without, you shouldn't be able to push it down hard. If you did that, you simply did it wrong. Just simply take it apart. Or if it's probably just a spring, you just push it down. But if it's something like you left inside, then you take it apart, and it should work just fine. So once you have that done, what I like to do is put back the faceplate of the controller, and just to save some time, I already put it back in. So what you do is you simply, I'll just show you. You grab this, and if you watch my other video, you see it's taken apart. But to get it back together, you simply just line it up. In the controller, you get these two little metal sticks that are sticking out. You put them in those small little holes right here, and it fits right in. And to get it back in, you simply just line up the little holes with the other small little plastic things sticking out. So you line them up, and this one on my controller is a little stuck, and you just push down, and it fits right in. And then also, to get this back in my other video, I show you to take it out. There's the big side, like the big cut in, and there's a small little cut. You want to put the small cut on the bottom, the big one on top. Make sure it's the clear side. going in first, the other side won't go in first. Just a little heads up. And then you simply just push it back in and make sure you click it in. And once you have that, I just simply put in the buttons. Oh, that's the wrong one, my bad. They're both green. Give me a break. You put the small one on the bottom, big one on top. And there you go. And it doesn't matter when you're putting the start or back buttons in. You just simply put them in. Just make sure that the big piece goes on top and the small one goes on the bottom. And now, when you're putting the buttons in, you don't have to worry which one goes in which, because they all fit. These buttons don't fit any other ones besides the ones they're supposed to go in. Microsoft is just smart about that. It's pretty funny actually. Microsoft actually being smart about something. But anyway, they fit in, so the A button goes on bottom. I kind of use that as a starting point. They fit it right in. And if you absolutely cannot figure out how to get each one in backwards, simply just use like a backup, like another controller, or go on the internet and find out. But what I use is B. I have a little technique to putting the buttons. B goes on the outside, X goes in the inside, and Y goes on top. That's just my little technique that I use to put them in. And now, make sure you still have this facing down, or if you flip it over, the old buttons are going to fly out, so yeah, be careful. Now when you're putting those in, simply just put this little rubber thingy back in, just to hold it there, and it shouldn't fit like that. Next, you put the other little rubber thingy in there for the D-pad. Oh my bad, I haven't showed you how to put that back in yet. I'll show you later. So then what you do is get this bottom piece, put it in, click it in, there you go. And now, I already put the D-pad in just to save some time, because I've done this video about 4 times and everyone keeps on entering my room and going, hey, what's up? So it's kind of annoying. This is my first time doing this controller, taking it apart. So yeah, give me a break. What you do is you put the bottom piece in first, in the back, and then you put the D-pad in first. And there's like these 2 big little holes. They go in to the slots inside the D-pad, and you just push, and you go right in. And then next, you simply put the screws in. Your screwdriver, the small plus one, and you simply just screw it in. And by the way, if you're wondering why I didn't edit out these mistakes I made, it's because I don't have any editing software on my computer, so I cannot edit them. I tried downloading them, and my computer doesn't want to accept it. It has problems, and it says I need to buy some software, which I'm not going to do. So then, after you put the D-pad in, you put the little rubber thingy back in. If I can just get it in, my thing's a little cut right here. There you go. So, that's most of it right there. After you get all that in, you take your board, and you make sure your controller's laying face down. You put it in, push up, make sure to click it in, make sure it's nice and tight in there, not too tight. And now I'm putting the D-pad, or the rumble pad back in. I found out a little trick for putting it back in. The wires kind of like to go where they want to go off to the sides. So what you do is simply put off the sides, do not force it down. Like, do not force it, like you see the wire, do not force it down like that. Just simply put it off the side like that. Here's what it looks like so far. And then simply when you're putting it, the shell back on, what I like to do is you hold it up because you push it down. The controller pushes itself up because it's pushing down, and yeah, it sits like that. What I do is I put it in with this, with the putting the triggers in first, and then sometimes these little springs will get in the way. That's where you put your battery pack. You simply just move those out of the way, and then yeah, all you do to the final step is just simply put the screws back in. Doesn't matter which ones you use, and there you go. That's how you put your Xbox 360 controller back in. If you have any questions, please comment, and also rate and subscribe. Thank you.